without the possibility of evil. It's something like that, in that maybe a man is better when he's a dangerous man who's being good than he would be if he was just a good man who wasn't capable of being dangerous. And I believe that because the best men that I've ever met are very dangerous men. You don't mess with them. Yeah. So, and you know that as soon as you meet them.
Yo, this is Big Boss from Oakland, California. You know what it is. Like, subscribe, share the Big Boss Real Talk YouTube channel. Okanda.
Who do the hiring in the fire? That's the boss. Who the man in Oakland? That's the boss. Lame talk, oh man, not the boss. Biggity wiggity Bossalini with the sauce. Travel bros catching flight, not for love. Bossalini up in here to bust it up. Bub. Talking dirty, you don't like it, hit the tub. TLC, keep it pop. I'm a thug. Real talk over here. We don't feel y'all. No. Real soft, pillow whisper, that's that squeal talk. Woo. I don't feel y'all, dog, like you real lost. Too much imitation talking, get you peeled off. Yeah, big Bossalini, he shrimp linguine. You never see me disappear like Houdini. Don't call me for no favors, unless it's real talk. Straight up out of Oakland, that's that big boss. Who do the
Yo. It's the biggity. Bossy Boss Olini from Oakland, California. You know what it is. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. We're going to have a good show. It probably won't be super long, but it will be super strong. Reason being, the special guest for tonight is none other than the Kosher Clinician. You know what I'm saying? Bossy Boss had to step it up, man. I had to step it up and get a professional, to come through to the channel. So without further ado, I want to welcome the Kosher Clinician to Real Talk channel.
What's going on, brother? How you doing, sir?
Nothing much, sir. Thank you. Thank you for agreeing to come on my small Poquito channel, sir.
Yeah, it ain't about the size, man. It's about the mission and the purpose, brother. I don't get caught up in. I try not to get caught up in numbers, man. It's all about the quality of the content and the mission of what we're trying to accomplish in these very weird and very ominous times.
Man, tell me that we are living in strange time indeed in real life,
right?
And even in the YouTube streets, we got a lot of strange characters that popped up in the YouTube streets causing all kind of havoc. And maybe we're going to get into a little bit of that. So, sir, the niceties out the way. How are you doing today, sir?
Always say, home of the Tar Heels, home of Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player ever. My alma mater, the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Tar Heel turn up. That's how we do it.
I heard that. Yes, sir. So you are what is your job title on your day job?
I'm a licensed therapist, but my background, I'm a licensed therapist by trade, but my background is very diverse. I got my first degree in law enforcement. I worked in mental health corrections. I worked as a mental health correction officer for 2 years. Then I did 7 years with the Department of Juvenile Justice. I got my bachelor's in general social work, went back and got my license in special ed, taught school for 5 years, and now I got my master's back in 2011, and I'm a licensed clinical therapist. So my background is very diverse, from criminology to education and also to understanding the mind of human beings. So my background is very broad. And one of the reasons why Big Boss, I decided to be a therapist is for this reason succinctly. I've always felt that when it came down to male empowerment, we didn't have enough people that were speaking to the social ills of men. We tend to either minimalize or marginalize the struggles of men in this contemporary society. And many times, Big Boss Real Talk, we never heard their struggles or their pain. And so I knew at an early age that that's what I was commissioned to do, to influence and to give light and life to the destitute, the lonely, and those that are suffering in silence. And sadly, many times, many men suffer in silence, and even more so now, when men decide to live their lives on their own terms, Big Boss, it's met with a lot of consternation. It's met with ignorance, and it's also met with ire. And it's met with ire for a myriad of reasons, but we'll talk about that at some point. But I am a male advocate. I believe in advocating for men. I believe in advocating for all men, but I have a special place in my heart for men of color because our circumstances are not unique to any other person in this country. And, I believe that when men are empowered, then we can empower our women. Once we empower our women, we can empower our communities. Once we empower our communities, Big Boss, we can empower the nation. But we can't do any empowerment when we don't honor and respect our men at a holistic level, in my honest opinion.
And there you go. Yeah, like the good book said, it starts from the man, God, man is the covering, and then the woman. So if you want to have a strong nation, you have to have strong men, and of course, strong women. Right. So not to turn this into that, especially on my channel, but I do have a somewhat background in the word. That's why the book said the serpent went after the woman so the woman can take down the man. Because once the man sinned, then they got kicked out the garden. If it would only been the woman, they wouldn't have got kicked out. She might have got kicked out. But once the man messed up, then everything goes. So that's why I think there's certain forces that be, and not to get too conspiratorial, especially right in the beginning, but certain forces that be that are targeting masculinity, targeting men. They want to water down men. They want to effeminate men. They want to weaken the nation. That's why a lot of agendas are being pushed. And so, like you say, anytime a man just wants to step up and just be a man, then it's met with condemnation. They're going to label it toxic. You're toxic just for being a man. You're labeled toxic, and it's not good.
Right.
Yeah, and so even like so with Andrew Tate, I'm sure you're aware of Andrew Tate. Like they basically censored him, took him off of almost all social medias. And all he was doing was just, again, advocating for men. He wasn't like bashing. It's funny, like, you don't have to bash women to just be an advocate for men. But it seems like it's a dichotomy. If you stand up for men's rights, it seems like you're automatically viewed as attacking, the other gender.
Right. I totally agree. That's what happens when you live in a gynocracy. I challenge people, Big Boss, with the presumption and the assumption that we live in a patriarchal society. And I will argue that we don't live in a kosher patriarchy. We live in a quasi-patriarchy, but it's not a true patriarchy, because a true patriarchy is where all men lead at the macro level, which is the policy-making level, at the meso level, which is the community or group level, and also at the micro level, which is the family or the individualized level. So we don't live in what's called a bona fide patriarchy. We live in a quasi. I'm not going to say it's a quasi. It's more matriarchal than anything because we tend to base our own life choices based on how some of our women or women feel in the West. And I think that is the death kill to the mental health of a man. We can start this conversation by asking ourselves the questions, Big Boss, why is male empowerment important to the psyche of a man? And we're going to talk about it because it's very important. Because, see, Dr. William Glasser said, as I said before on prior shows, that needs drive behaviors. And see, when men don't get their needs met, Big Boss, they tend to suffer inside. And that suffering can turn to an implosion, which in essence can turn to an explosion. And, it can turn to an explosion. Now, I've always said, Big Boss, that a hopeless man is a broken man, and a broken man is dangerous. And men become dangerous when they don't have the power to speak truth to power, to live their lives on their own conviction, free of shame, harm, or guilt. but also when we don't have the right or the power to be our authentic selves. And that's the great quagmire and conniption that we have here in America. Anytime men begin to do things based on how they feel that they need to do it, it's based with a lot of hearsay, false allegations, gaslighting, projection, ignorance, and it's all based on people more or less on an unconscious or conscious level dealing with their own pathology that they have not addressed themselves. So male empowerment is very powerful because, as I said earlier, Big Boss, if you empower your men, then you will empower your women. An empowered man that's a righteous man will do everything in his power to empower his woman. Once you empower your woman, then you will empower your boys. Once you empower your boys, then you will empower your girls. Once you empower your girls, then you will empower the nation. And when we're not empowered because we are depowered, because we live in a gynocratic order or gynocratic culture where heteronormative masculinity is under attack, and anytime men begin to speak out, it's more or less met with labelings or labels that are more or less based on their own personal opinion instead of any objective truth or objective realities, to say the least.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like you said, anytime a man does anything for himself, it's a problem. It's almost as if the man is supposed to be a servant to womanhood, right? Everything must be geared towards serving, the queen or whatnot. If a man has self-determination, I'm going to do this for me because I want to do it. And I'm not hurting nobody. I'm just doing this for my own well-being. Then it seems to be a problem. Yeah, that's a shame. And, that is a reason, and everything goes together. It feeds into this one of the facets. It feeds into one of the reasons why men are seeking greener pastures and using their passports to go abroad. I don't know if you could see even on the screen now, the backdrop. I have Thailand, Brazil, Colombia in the backdrop or whatnot, symbolizing, men using their passports to go abroad. And like I say, for that self, exploration, just to get out, see the world, and try to live life on their own terms. And then when they come back, they have a more fuller understanding. And you might even, stay the rest of your life and live in the States, but you expose yourself to other things and not just kind of trapped and locked in a matrix or the plantation.
Yeah. And what you said is very profound and very succinct. My channel is based on 7 core principles. That's why I came up with the word kosher. Kosher in the Hebrew means the shavah or the skeva. It basically means complete. And I believe that there are 7 steps that a man must go through in order to become optimized, Big Boss. And those 7 steps are faith, family, finances, female psychology, politics, world travel, and male mental and male physical health. Once a man can successfully more or less synchronize all of those variables, he becomes optimized. And that's when he can be at his highest point. 7 means to be complete. And once a man is complete, then he's no longer a saboteur to his own ignorance. Many men are saboteurs to their own ignorance because they think they're free, but they're really slaves. Harriet Tubman said it better than me, Big Boss. She said that I could have freed a lot more if they did not already know that they were slaves. So there's a slaving in America as it relates to male liberation. And that slaving many times is based on negative indoctrination and negative socialization. And a lot of times that negative socialization and indoctrination more or less paralyze men for getting those outcomes that are variable, that are sustainable for them and also their mental health long term.
Absolutely. It's a reason why the analogy of the Matrix movie that came out in 1999, fits very well because, like I say, in that movie, The Matrix, where almost a whole human population was basically enslaved, they were asleep, they were connected to the Matrix, to the system, serving the system. Morpheus even said to Neo, we can't unplug everybody because a lot of people, they're not ready to be unplugged. And a lot of people will fight you. They will fight you to stay plugged into the system.
Yes, sir. Right.
And so that also kind of correlates with the quote from Harriet Tubman, like, I could have freed more people if they know they were slaves.
Right.
But you got a situation now where some guys, you know, and we're going to talk about this, men that go against their own best interests, men that fight other men that go against, fight, and oppose other men that are fighting for men's rights and man's issues.
Right.
You have these, you know, on my channel, man, you know, my channel is pretty raw. You know, I call them white knights. I call them cucks. I call them manginas, white knight defenders. You know what I'm saying? They are, you know, fighting other men who are fighting for men's issues, you know, and that's unfortunate. It's like, you know, you got like a lot of, I would also say like male feminists, but to the point, male feminists where, you know, they go against other men who's trying to help.
Yeah. Many times those men are what I call unconscious simps. Some are conscious simps, but many are unconscious simps. And what they do is they supplement irrational male patterns. And I say male patterns because men don't do stuff like that. Men don't concern themselves with the affairs of other men. Men are neutral. Listen, I can disagree with you. You and I, one time, we were on a show and we had a disagreement, but I respected you as a man. You respected me as a man. We held our ground, we spoke our piece, and we left it alone. That's what men do. Men set balance, men set order, men set respect. But we don't assail one another, big boss, because that's not masculine. So I call it supplementing irrational male patterns because males do that. You know, we all are born males, but we become men through hills and valleys, victories and failures. So men like that, you know, my logic, as long as you don't bother me, I won't bother you. But when you start wanting to get physical, your mouth gets slick, you can get this work. I always tell people, don't ever more or less get my profession confused with me being a man. I don't bother nobody, but at 6'5", 6'6", 280 pounds, if you threaten me, you might get your jaw slacked. And I say that succinctly. I don't bother nobody, but I got a vicious side. And I always said, big boss, if I can't beat you from the hip, I'll beat you with the clip. You don't want the clip.
You don't want the clip.
You don't want the clip,
big
man.
Boss, real talk. Hey, man, we almost should have had this one on my smoke channel, man. I'm trying to be diplomatic. We might have to take this interview to the smoke channel.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
If I can't beat you from the hip, I'll beat you with the clip.
And I don't want to take it there, but
You know, exactly. But, absolutely.
But I will if you ever threaten my life. And that's the way I operate, man.
You're a big guy, man. You know, 6'6". You 6'6".
Yeah. Well, 6'6" with shoes on, about 6'5", 6'6". Yeah.
Wow, 6'5", 6'6", 280. Wow.
Yeah. I need to lose some weight though. I need to get down. I was like 225 in high school.
There you go.
250 would be a good weight, but 6'5", 280.
Yeah, I need to get down. Yeah, myself, I'm 6'2". I'm 6'2", 260.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I want to get down to about 215, 220.
Right. More mobile, man. You want to be mobile as you get older, man. You don't need to carry a bunch of weight as you get older.
Stick and move. For these haters, man. Right. For these haters might have to get that work. But okay, you know what? Well, we can delve a little deeply on the dark side. What causes, like you say, what causes some of these guys to act like this, man? Especially
right. And so it's called over-identification with the feminine. In the clinical world, we call it introjection. Introjection, big boss, basically means when women and girls or children introject the knowledge that they've gotten from their mothers many times. With 80% of children being born in single-parent homes, then kids tend to introject the instructions from their mothers. That introjection turns to internalization. That internalization turns to identification. That identification can turn to projection. So it can be unconscious many times. Sometimes it is conscious. They know what they're doing. But it's that unconscious pathology of simping where they never seen masculinity in its fullest power. They might have a visceral hatred for their father or their fathers or men because what they see in men traveling could be also unconscious of seeing their fathers abandon them, just like their fathers abandoned their mothers. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Bars, that is deep.
Right.
Did you guys hear that, YouTube?
Right.
From the Kosher Clinician.
Mm-hmm.
He said one of the possible psychological mechanisms going on.
Right.
Is these guys, when they see these men living their lives, traveling, leaving, right, going overseas, leaving, some of these guys can be reverting back and thinking about their fathers leaving,
Right.
not being there, going
Right.
off for whatever reason, for whatever. Whoa, that is
For whatever
deep.
reason. Yes, sir.
Woo, that is deep, man. That is deep. Possibly, because I definitely see that there's a type of guy that hates on passport bros, right? And then you even have, and even then, right now, what they say, I forget the exact number. I think it's something like 5%, of black men population, passport.
It's a small
bros.
percentage. A small percentage, right?
Yeah, so 5%. So you mean you got 95%, and so a lot of that 95% of guys are neutral, right? Because like you said, men are neutral. A big portion of them are neutral. Now a lot of them are starting to be interested, right? But then you have that other portion who are very feminine with it. They're not neutral. They're not interested, but they're triggered so much that they have to shame just like a woman. Oh, well, you going over there because you can't get this XYZ. Wow. What does that have to do with you? What does that matter with you while I'm using this? Crazy.
Well, the crazy thing is,
yes, sir. Kind of freezing out
say
on
anything. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you and hear you now.
Yeah, some of these same people, Big Boss, they didn't say anything when these white black women were going to Negril, Jamaica, getting their backs blown out. They didn't say anything when they were dealing with the Jamaican natives. They didn't say anything. They didn't say anything about you dealing with those poor women. And they didn't say anything about white women when they were going to Kenya, when they were going to wherever. But they always make the presumption that every man that travels is going to trick, which is weird. Because now you got another man phallus in your mouth, and it's weird to me because I don't care what men do with their money or their bodies. That's between them and God. I don't concern myself with that. Whatever you do between you and God, you got to answer to God for that. But if they were tricking, so what is it to you?
Right.
Men have the right to live their lives on their own terms. Women can live their lives on their own terms too. But once again, it's classic projection, Big Boss, because many times the same ones talking about what you're doing, they're doing it themselves. So it's a way, they're doing it themselves, but they do it in a way, in a manipulative. See, people like that are very manipulative. They're very charismatic, but they're very manipulative at the same time. And so they do it to recuse themselves of what they might know that their moral constitution say is wrong. But also they do it because, like I said, over-identification with the feminine, unconscious simps, and the thing they're saying that you're doing, sometimes they're doing the same exact thing or worse.
Worse.
Yeah, or worse. But, we live in a world, Big Boss, where telling lies makes sense. And so the way we deceive our women is to lie to them, to tell them what they want to hear. And we keep them in a suspended state of victimhood instead of rising up from the morass and becoming a better woman. A true man's going to tell a woman the truth. He's going to be gentle in his approach, but he's going to tell her the truth. But sadly, many don't want to hear the truth because consistent with theology, and you grew up in theology like I did, yes. The gospel says that in the last days they will not love the truth. They don't want to hear it, and it's the spirit of the Antichrist. But it is what it is, man. But I tell men, don't even entertain people like that. Focus on you, laugh at them. Because see, you don't feed narcissists, and some of these people could be bona fide narcissists. You don't feed narcissists. You ignore them. You set boundaries with narcissists, and you just ignore them. When you feed it, then you're giving the narcissist power. We call it in the clinical world a narcissistic supply. And so you feed it. And I know it's hard sometimes when somebody's disrespecting you. I mean, because I know you got that Scorpio swag, and I'm a Leo. And Scorpios are vengeful. They could be aggressive. They could be very violent too. Just like Leos can. And, Scorpios don't play. Scorpios are the type that'll get you back. They don't play that. They'll find a way to get you back. So So, but yeah, man, it's their own issues, and sometimes people just do it because they like controversy. You know, they don't really have
Right. It's
any
like
true
drama, like
right,
mess, kicking up
right,
mess.
right. They love controversy. Don't really have any true talent, but they like controversy. I don't bother nobody. I don't pick on folks. You know, I don't disrespect nobody. You know, but don't bring the smoke. I won't bring it. But yeah, it's people like that. You just laugh at them, ignore them. As long as they're not, they can talk, whatever. As long as they don't put their hands on me or threaten me or my family, because if you put your hands on me, you might lose your life. You might get your jaw slapped. And
The
and
jaw
I'll leave it
slap.
at that. I'm just listen, man. I worked in law enforcement, man. I used to work with convicts, and like I said, I don't bother nobody, man. But what I don't do, I don't disrespect other men. Whether you 5 feet tall or 8 feet tall, I treat all men as human beings. I don't disrespect men. I respect other men, but every man has a threshold that where he says enough is enough. So I would tell men, just keep laughing at them. There's a time for all things. There's a time to sit back in the cut and laugh. There might be a time to attack. But by and far, you just don't feed the narcissists. Just let them be fools unto themselves, because the more you feed them, the more power you give them.
Got you. I hear you, man. I will take that into consideration.
Right.
Yeah. So, speaking YouTube, sir, you seem to be doing well for yourself already. How long have you had this channel up and going, like running?
Yeah, Big Boss, that's a good question, man. I think I started back in January of last year, about a year and 8 months, 9 months, about a year and 8 months.
Okay.
It was about like a year. It's hard being a professional and trying to do this at the same time. It's not easy.
No.
Not easy at all, man. It's a lot of work. But yeah, about 8 months, man. I mean, about a year and 8 months.
Year and 8 months.
It's very time consuming, very draining.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Oh man, absolutely,
Yeah,
man.
it's very draining, man. I didn't realize how draining it could be, man. I'm very draining.
I remember. So about 2 or 3 years ago, before I started my channel, I got my feet wet on YouTube from always being featured and going up on Richie Rich Road to Tapes channel. After I would go on my vacations, I would pull up on Road to Tape and give travel reports. And a lot of the people, a lot of his followers, they would just like me and my crazy personality. And they'll say, "Big Boss, you need a YouTube channel." And I was so much against it. And then Richie Rich was saying, "Boss, if you ever do start a channel, just know it's a lot of hard work."
Yeah.
And I said, "I believe you. That's why I ain't going to do it." Then fast forward last year, I'm coming up on a year. It's a year this month. I started September 2021. It was literally like the last couple of days of September. I want to say September 26, 27. I remember because my first video, I reported on the R. Kelly verdict, and I believe that was September 27th. So it was the last couple of days of September. So I'm basically a year. I'm a few weeks short of 1 year. And when I had my first live stream, October 1st, it was funny the way it lined up. Friday, October 1st was my very first live stream. I went full circle, and I had Richie Rich Roll the Tape be my first guest, because he was my introduction into YouTube. Yeah, so I'm almost a year. I'm a few weeks shy of 1 year. Right. And in this 1 year, it's a lot of work, hard work, man. And especially when you have a vision for your platform and your craft and your content, you want it to look and be a certain way. And I guess that's good and bad of me is, no offense to no one else. When I go to other people's channels, and these other channels, sometimes they have a lot of subscribers, and even with their subscribers, I'm looking at their stuff and I'm like, eh. So I said, I want to have good thumbnails. I want to have good structure. I want to have some type of editing. I want to have some kind of effects. I want to have some type of production quality. Now, shout out to the other Richie, not Richie Rich Roll the Tape, Richie Mac Zoom to Thailand.
Richie Mac Zoom to Thailand.
Yeah. I ain't gonna have that kind of production, but shout out to Zoom to Thailand, man. His editing is A1. I'm not gonna have that kind of production, but I do want to have some type of production, right? And
Right.
when you put all that work in, all that editing, adding elements, adding music, adding pop-ups, doing all that work, hours of work for a few minutes of video, then you get like 100 views, 200
I
views.
know. I
I'm like,
know,
all
man.
right.
Yeah. And we all been through it. So, there's so many nuances to it, man. What I've learned, the algorithm don't care what you like. You got to feed the algorithm what it wants. And,
Yes.
and what people don't understand is this, some folks will brag about subscribers, but, can you imagine, Big Boss, if you had, say if you had 500, say if you had 800 videos, but you had 9,000 subscribers. If you got 800 videos and 900 subscribers, 9,000 subscribers, that means you're not a great content creator, because your subscriber number should be magnified based on the amount of videos that you're producing. If you got 800 videos and you got a lower number of subscribers, then something's wrong with your content. I know content creators that got less videos, but they got more subscribers. So that's a testament to the greatness of the video. When I first started, I didn't get a lot of views, but as time went on, I started getting better and better at it. But you got cats that'll sit up and boast and brag about, they got more subscribers, but look at you got a lot of videos. Your videos should be, because they think that subscribers is the power to work, but it's not.
It's views.
If you got a bunch of, right, it's the views, but also it's the videos. If you got a bunch of videos and you got 500 videos, I got 250 videos, but you got 500 videos and you got 9,000 subscribers. I got 250 videos, but I got 25,000 subscribers. What does that say about you? It doesn't mean your product is a bad product per se, but your product is not as good, because it means that your videos didn't more or less produce the views that you wanted. So when people try to brag about videos, but they don't have the subscribers to back those videos, then something's wrong with the quality of your work. Because I got a colleague of mine, a friend of mine, he might got less. My work is solid, but I'm a licensed professional. I don't have time to put my heart into this stuff, man, because it's draining. But he got way more subscribers than I got, but then also he got less videos. But also, that's a testament to what the algorithm wants. Sometimes what we want to get the algorithm is not what the algorithm wants. So if you have guys, like I had another guy, he would always brag, about how many videos he had, how many videos he had. But I'm like, okay, you got all these videos, but you got low views. So what does that say about the quality of your work? Do you see my point? I'd rather have consistent, steady views than have a bunch of videos and I'm not getting a lot of views. That doesn't mean that you're a good content creator. You can boast and brag when you got less videos but more subscribers. And many times subscribers numbers are vain anyway. That subscribers are not always a true indication of the quality of your work. It can be, but sometimes it's what I call vanity numbers, because a lot of subscribers are dead subscribers. They don't even interact with the channel, So
They don't interact.
Right.
They see one video they liked a couple months ago, and on the strength of the one video, boop, they subscribe. Thank you, and then they forget about the channel.
Right.
Yeah, but with this shorts thing though, that kind of skews everything, because when you put a short on your page, it counts as a video, right? So I'm noticing that too when I go by other people's channels. I see they might have hundreds of videos. Then I go in the video, and it's basically mostly all shorts and then a regular video. All shorts and 2 regular videos. Shorts and 3 regular videos. So like 2/3 of it is shorts. So and not to take nothing away from it, because they saying nowadays the way to grow your channel is through short content. Short content grows your channel because unfortunately it is what it is, right? People have short attention spans. People don't have a lot of time, so they want quick dopamine rushes. And if you have a lot of shorts, you increase your chance of growing your channel.
Right.
But it's your long content that really will engage them. Yeah. So like I said, shout out to you. This January you'll be coming up on 2 years. This January. Right. And by the end of this month, I will finally complete my first year. And I'm kind of hard on myself. I feel I should have more subscribers within my 1 year. But you know, I got monetized.
No, that's actually good, man. Listen, most folks take years to get 1,000 subscribers, man.
Whoa.
So yeah. If you get 1,000 subscribers in a year, you're not really doing bad. Some people are still stuck at 100. So you're not doing bad, man. You're doing pretty good. You know, it's many things that determine your subscriber account. Collaborations help. Quality of content. Trending topics help. It's a lot of different variables. But if you got close to 2,000 subscribers within a year, a little over a year, you're doing pretty good, man. Because what you're doing it's not typical. Most folks don't get over 1,000 subscribers in a year. Some do, but some don't. It depends on if you're viral, if you're viral or you got a trending topic that can help, or you got a big person pushing you. But you know, I won't necessarily go by the quality of work based on that per se.
Yeah,
you're actually doing pretty good, man.
Right on. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll take it. So a little bit more on YouTube. So what's the plan? What's your future plans for your channel?
Well, you know, Eddie Kendricks with the Temptations that keep on trucking, baby, you know, and I'm just going to keep on trucking, man. I'm going to keep on trucking, and I got a couple of things in the forefront. You know, I was in the movie with Al Greaves, Frustrated 3.
Yes, you were.
Right, but the main thing, man, is to keep inspiring men. I got a couple of projects I'm looking at. I just don't have the time, man, but you know, a couple of projects I'm looking at, and just continue to expand the brand, man, continue to grow, and continue to try to use clinical concepts and coalesce it with the art of the human experience, but also the art of trending topics, and use the clinical concepts, coalesce the two together, and just make good content, man.
Yeah, you know what? Since we went down this YouTube rabbit hole, you know, it's just one guy I follow. He's a doctor. He's a MD, a black medical doctor, and in his YouTube channel, very creative. It works because I subscribe. So he's a real medical doctor, and so he reacts to a lot of things in pop culture, even, and sometimes even fiction, right? Even fiction, even you know, comic book stuff or anime or movies. So like, being that he's a doctor, so like in one his video, he was reacting and giving a doctor's view of like one of the Rocky movies, like when you take certain blows, you know, right. So, but you know what? That's very creative. I mean, who thought of that? And also he had one where, yeah, that's kind of his thing. Every now and again, he would do your standard, you know, doctor stuff, but sometimes he'll go off the rails. He'll use a movie. He'll use a fictional movie.
Right.
He said, if this person came into my office, I would have to do this, and that. I said, wow. So that's a way of combining trending topics or pop culture and putting your expertise in it.
Right. Well, when Jesus spoke, he spoke with parable. He spoke with parable to convey the richness of heaven. And so if you just speak in the straight nomenclature of your profession, most people won't get it. It will bore them to death. Our ancestors, they were growers.
And that's unfortunate, right? That's unfortunate. You would bore them to death.
Right, because they're not intellectual. They, like you said, they got short attention spans. But our ancestors were growers, so they would tell stories to talk about African truths, wisdoms, and history. Christ did it. But you have to be creative, because if you're just technical with what you're doing, they're not going to receive it. I always use clinical concepts. So when I talk about male empowerment, I base mine off Dr. William Glasser. Dr. William Glasser talked about something called choice theory. And choice theory is based in reality therapy. And so there's a reality, Big Boss, that men are not getting their needs met. Dr. Glasser said that there are 5 variables or 5 elements to need psychology. He says power, fun, freedom, belonging, and survival. Black men feel, and many men in America feel like they're devoid of power. They feel like they're devoid of fun. They feel like they're devoid of freedom. They feel like they're devoid of belonging. And many are trying to survive the aversive nature of paternity courts and family courts. and they're also trying to survive within a culture and an environment that is not more or less embrace masculine principles or masculine norms. So when men are not getting their needs met, then they'll get their needs met outside of themselves. I'm gonna say it again. When they don't get their needs met, they will get their needs met outside of themselves. And true to what Teddy Pendergrass said, Big Boss, Teddy said you can't hide from yourself. Anywhere you go, everywhere you go, that's where you are. You can't hide. So you can't hide from yourself.
Can't hide from yourself.
Right. So if you're not getting your needs met, you got to face the source of not getting your needs met and find a way to satiate that when you can.
Right. Boom. Bars. You can't hide from yourself. And that's true for any living organism, just about, especially the survival thing. And you're going to try to move mountains, hell and high water, to get what you want. Like I said, especially a need, a want, but then a need. Hell, we do anything to try to have fun and get our wants done, but let alone our needs. So if you need something, you're going to try to do anything to get what you need. You're going to make changes. You're going to travel. You're going to do almost anything, disrespecting, to get your needs met. If you're not getting your needs met at home, right, that's common sense.
Right. It's true. Right. It is common sense. Right. Absolutely. It is common sense. And most people don't understand that. So instead of trying to understand where people are coming from an intellectual perspective, they use shaming and ignorance and projection to more or less try to silence people. But it's funny to me, man. I just laugh at stuff like that, man. I personally don't care. As long as you ain't messing with my money or messing with me physically, I don't care what you say or do. As long as you don't slander my name. But I don't care about stuff like that, man. It's childish to me and very ignorant. So you just laugh at ignorant people like that, man.
It is, but yeah, like I say, boss got a dark side too, so
Right. You got that. You're a Scorpio, man. Our Scorpios can be very dark.
That scorpion sting, huh? Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up, sir. Well, thank you for coming on. We're not quite an hour yet. We're pushing 40 minutes. I don't want to keep you. I could let you go.
But no, we can talk. We can keep cooking, man, because I'll give you 3 more minutes, and then I'll get off because I got something to do. But one of the things of male empowerment is hearing what men say, and I'm going to challenge you when it comes down to getting your needs met. What do you feel like you weren't getting in relationships in modern America, in your opinion?
What I feel like I wasn't getting,
yes,
proper respect. That's the main thing, the proper respect, and then also, probably cooperation, then respect.
Mm-hmm. Is that more of a Cali thing, you think, or this is an American thing in your opinion?
I think it's both. It's an American thing magnified by West Coast California lifestyle. As we know, all across this great land of ours, certain areas and regions and big cities have a whole different vibe than some of the other areas in this land. So here in California, especially the Bay Area, wow, it's the wild, wild west out here, man. So yeah, it's magnified. So I would say the cooperation and then the respect that I feel that a proper level for a man as such as myself. So that being the case, transparency, I still try to, the date here and there, and I'm a people person. I'm a ladies man. I'm a talker. I'm a charmer. I'm charismatic. I have conversation, but it's like fishing, and I catch them, but half the time I throw them right back. Because once I catch him, then what I'm gonna do with it, right? It's all the modern day ills that come with it. So yeah, I mean, I have no problem catching it, but it's just like you say. And then as you get older, right? For me, my patience wears a little thin. I've been doing this for many, many, many decades. My patience wears thin. I don't got time. I don't got time. You know, it's just easier and less stressful for me, you know, to go somewhere where generally, right, the culture, the women are more, you know, feminine. The women are more cooperative.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the culture, and even then, no place is perfect. So you go somewhere overseas, and you probably can find a couple of duds over there. Hello,
Right, 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 right,
but,
right.
but that ratio is going to be all the way a lot lesser. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah. It's always like you said, man. The tendency. You look like in the clinical world, we call it the central tendency. The central tendency, you have what's called the mode, the mean, and the average, and many times it supersedes the average or the median. Well, actually, the mode, median, the median, mode, and the mean, median,
the
mode, and the mean, right? And so the median is right in the middle,
middle.
and but sometimes the average can be above the mean. So, like you said, tendency, and that word comes from central tendency. And so the
Central.
tendency in general is that many don't meet the virtues of the past that many men were used to, like their grandfather and their grandmothers. And we know that there's some dusty men too. You know, there are men that got issues as well.
Right.
But like you were saying, people think when men travel, men are oblivious to the fact that those women have issues too. They are still women at their core. Regardless of where you go, a woman's going to be a woman. But they're just socialized different, the majority of them, you know, and that's what makes your life better and easier. Let me ask you a question, Big Boss. You talk about male empowerment and traveling to, I know you traveled to Thailand. What were some of the things about Thailand that were shocking to you as it relates to them interacting with black men? What were some of the things that shocked you in the interaction with black men?
The main one was how enamored many of the Thai women that I came across were with black men. I mean, I would never forget on my first trip, one Thai lady that I met that I was dealing with, she would just say like, "Oh my God, I love so much black man," and just always rubbing on my skin. I know if I was a young man with hair, she probably would have been rubbing in my hair, but I ain't got no hair to rub on. But you know,
Right.
she rubbing on my skin, said, "Oh my God, I love so much black man." So and so you know that's the women obviously, but the culture in Thailand, I don't know, maybe because they're Buddhist, they're very respectful, very peaceful, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very peaceful land. Like you go into 7-Eleven to buy something, the little worker behind the check stand would do with a courtesy bow after you pay for your stuff. I'm like, wow, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
so and that's just somebody you don't know. That's somebody working at a store giving you a little bow. And so if you're dealing with a lady or something like that, I mean, is you almost get that same treatment. So it can get kind of intoxicating, especially when you talk about like a night and day difference of how men, like you said, men needs are not getting met in mass, right?
And
Not
mass, right.
in mass, men's needs are not getting met. Then you go to over there where, again, not even any one lady or whatever, but their whole system, their whole society is different. Their whole everything, their get down their concept is a lot different than over here. So
Mm-hmm.
you know it's very intoxicating, and you can get used to it real quick. You know, you got to snap out of it and say, "Hey, what's going on?" Then you come back over here to the States and you're back in reality. What you looking at me for? Blah, 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 blah. I said, oh man, here we go. I said, Calgon, take me away. Click my heels again and go and get back over there. Um, so I would say like that is even more different than when I traveled to Latin America, from Colombia, Brazil, or especially Dominican Republic. So at this point, those are the 4 countries I have been to. These 3 right here, Thailand, Brazil, Colombia, and the Dominican Republic. Um, Thailand is its own little world. It's different than Colombia and Dominican Republic. Very close to it though is Brazil. I would say Brazil is a little bit lesser than in far as like the overall treatment, but it's still head and shoulders above America, right? Again, there are laws, there are mores, there are customs, there are systems, the way everyone is socialized and raised, right? Yes, they have social media over there now, unfortunately, but it hasn't affected them in mass yet. So it's like you go to some of these places, it's literally like stepping in a time machine going back into the States, like how we would be in the 1950s or 60s. That's how it feels.
Right.
That's how it feels.
Right.
And
Right.
then
Right. Right.
when you come back to the States, you're in the 21st and you're in the year 2030, 2050 and beyond. There's the new brave new world, social agenda, everything now. But when you go over there, it's like you're going back in time to a simpler time than the 1950s. Everything was just peaceful and calm, and it made sense. And you can just walk up and say hello, start a conversation. Just, you know, so at this point, I'm not giving up traveling for nothing for the most part, you know.
Right. 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 What do you see this passport thing going in the next 5 years?
Oh, it's only gonna expand. Like I say, uh, this if you would compare this to stocks or tech companies or startups, this would be Netflix or Uber or Google in its infancy.
Mm-hmm.
This would be Microsoft when Bill Gates first first start working for Apple and started Microsoft out of his garage. This is the infancy. It's about to explode. Remember, 5%. That's still 95%. And now, you have youngsters like shout out to Austin Holloman. Um, you got youngsters like him that just picked this thing up and just running with it, blowing up online. It's making it more popularized, right? The guys who've been traveling. These guys have been traveling for 20, 30 years, right? But being more popularized on Front Street. So this thing is like a grass fire. It's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Remember, we're talking 5%. So this thing is like a tech startup in its infancy.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to skyrocket.
Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm.
And with that, as a lot of new guys get passports, then guess what? They're all going to turn to social media for info. So, travel channels have the potential to even blow up even more because you're going to get a fresh influx of new passport guys, and they're going to go to YouTube for information. So we're in a very exciting time. I see it only going up from here. Now, with probably associated hate as it goes up in popularity, the hate is going to go with it.
Yeah. 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 It's crazy, man. It's unfortunate, but I'm a firm believer that men live their lives on their own terms, unapologetic, man. You don't worry about what other folks say. You just laugh at them and just live your life on your own term, man. And I think this is going to be a good time for a lot of the younger men. I'm actually excited for them because when it comes down to male empowerment, our generation didn't get the game, but they get in the game early. What's your take on that?
No, exactly, 100%. That's what I was saying to Austin Holloman when I had him on my show. I was commending him. I said for picking this thing up early, 23 years old and running with it. This is really going to change the dynamic. I think, for the good all around. Now, it still might take a generation or two for it to really sink in to a lot of the American matrix women, to get right. But sometimes things need to happen. Things need to be jarred. So they need to see men leaving in mass. And when they see that, men leaving in mass, they're gonna go through the 5 stages, right? They're gonna go through the hating, through the rejection, through the ignoring, and then making excuses. And then they're gonna have to come to the realization, maybe it's me. And so this is very dynamic. It's a lot of moving parts that's going to keep happening over the next few years. and it probably would get messy before it gets better, because again, more guys are going to be leaving, and as more guys leave, there's going to be more drama. There's more shaming with it, but it's not going to stop. It's still going to keep happening. So at some point, they're going to have to get with it, and maybe for the next generation, things will kind of even out. So we'll see.
I totally agree, man. It'll definitely even out, man. And that's why, man, older brothers got to empower these younger men to live their lives on their own terms, man. And but more or less, man, it was a pleasure talking to you, Big Boss, man. I see you doing your thing, man. You got that funky beat. You got a funky beat, and that beat is on point, man. And like I said, man, I count it a pleasure to be on your show tonight. Hopefully, we'll have these conversations again in the future. And I think I met you on Rich's channel. You and I had that conversation. And like I said, man,
we kind of locked horns the first time we was on the panel together.
It's okay, Leo Scorpio, man. Like I said, you had your opinion, I had mine, but I didn't disrespect you as a man. You didn't disrespect me. We stood our ground. We kept it moving, and that's what men do. We speak our mind. We agree to disagree and keep it moving. But I never disrespected you or even attack you, because men don't do that, man.
Right.
So, but I think it's an exciting time, man, and and I think we've got to continue to be clarion callers. Shout out to Dre with Love Crossing Boys, Richard Mack, Austin Holloman, Al Grease, Frustrated, El Guapo, Beautiful Lives, and a lot of more content creators, Dr. Ron Neal. And it's all about men just living their lives on their own terms, unapologetically, man. That's what it's all about, man. So.
Yes, sir. So real fast before I let you go, I did. That was one of the things I wanted to touch on. Obviously, that movie. How was that experience being a part of that movie? Frustrated, correct?
Yeah, Frustrated. It was good, man. I went to Brazil back last year and looked at it from a clinical perspective. I had another a professor. He came with me, and we were supposed to premiere last year, but Grease pushed the production back. But it was a good experience, man. I mean, I had a gaffe when I was down there too. My phone got lost, and it was very stressful, man. Because your phone is your communication piece, and in the country, you don't know how to speak Portuguese. It was hard, man. But overall, it was a good trip, man. Excellent trip. I enjoyed it. Had a good time, man. For the most part, it was stressful the first 3 days, but it got better the last.
How long was that trip?
It was about 7 to 8 days.
7 to 8 days, and you lost your phone. How soon?
I got that. I got there Friday, Big Boss. We were going to Casa Black up in in Brazil. Yeah, and my phone got lost in the cab that night, and so I didn't realize being in Brazil that you can't. I didn't realize being in Brazil that you can't really use your phone unless you got a SIM card. And
exactly.
So I was screwed in that area, and so I was on the hook, man. So I had to move fast because I had to get back, fly out for that Saturday, and so I was trying to find my phone, trying to find the phone, trying to. Because normally if you're not a citizen in the country, you can't get a SIM card, and so it was a lot of jumping around, man. But it worked out in the end. I'm very, one thing I pride myself in is being quick. Being a quick thinker, man. And so my wittiness was tested at that particular time, man. But I figured it out, man. And I was able to do it, man. So but it was a solid trip though, overall.
A solid trip. That's what's up. Yeah, I do want to correct you. You can get a SIM card even without being a citizen. You can.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. One way, like they even have they have some vendors like be on the street. They have like you might have seen them. So the vendors they have they sell like the umbrellas and they sell magazines and all the stuff. Sometimes they have them in there, but normally the best place is to go to the mall, go to the shopping mall, and one or two of those seller companies in the mall, they would do it for you. You do have to bring your passport. You would not they would not give you the SIM card unless you show your passport. But yeah, that's the way around it. Yeah. I'm gonna let that go. You're married. You're a married man, right? You're happily married, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How many years? You don't mind me asking?
26.
Woo! 26. Shout out to you, man.
Right,
Shout out to you. Yeah, so absolutely. You went to Brazil for all the right reasons. Shout out to you.
right. Yeah, I was in the movie, man. I was in the movie Frustrated 3, and
In the movie.
had a good time with Grease. He wanted me to come out and promote the movie, and it was a momentous occasion. Because if you look at it from the clinical world, needs drive behaviors, and that was a way. World travel is part of what I promote on my channel. It's one of the 7 steps to male optimization, and that was one of the war cries that was necessary to talk about is world travel. So,
yeah, exactly. And I said before on one of my videos, as a matter of fact, this was even one of my harsher videos on my smoke channel, but what I said was still true when I was saying there's a reason why men are using passports in mass. Right. There's a reason. It's not just nilly-willy. There is a reason. So that means there was a need. There is a need. There's a reason why it's exploding. Guys have always been traveling. Passports are not new. It wasn't just invented yesterday, right?
Right.
But let's be honest. Let's not gaslight. Let's be honest. Anybody, you turn on your social media, what is one of the big talking points now? Men getting passports. That push, that big drive, where did that come from? My nephew, my play nephew, I call him nephew, Austin Holliman, from his personal take, and that's what he say. That's his personal take. But like he say, it's that bad. It's that. So I'm saying there's a reason why. So you said needs drive behavior. We have behavior because it's a need.
It's a need, right? It's a need to be understood. It's a need to be desired. It's a need to be wanted. It's a desire to be respected. It's a desire to be reverenced. It's a desire to be honored. Men have needs, but many times in the West, Big Boss, the needs of men are often met with obscurity, or many times they're minimalized.
You're a big, strong man. You can handle it. You're a big, strong man. Don't cry. Suck it up. Put some dirt on it. Rub some dirt on it. Suck it up.
Right. Put some dirt on it. Right.
Put some dirt on it. Stuck it up. You're a big, strong guy.
Yes, sir. And then, like I said, after the
resources are allocated to, resources, government resources are allocated, which is good. It should be, especially women with children, right? It should be. But, the emphasis is, it seems in the West, is all gynocentric, mostly gynocentric, especially when you start getting into the family course. Right. And what you said, the needs of the man. If nothing else, even at least it should be a balance, because you need a balance to be stable, right? Duh. That's the definition. You need a balance to be stable. We don't. I don't believe right now we have a stable society. Shout out to people who are married, who have their significant others, who found that special someone for 26, 25 years. Again, but even then, no offense or whatnot, you have been married for what? 25 years, right? In a different time, not last year, not in the 2020s, hell, not even in the 2000s. Like what? So the year you got married was like in the 90s, like late 90s, 98, 99?
No, I was in the mid 90s. I was going on 26, man. But I will say this: if I was singing the game again, man, I went not to the typical woman in the West. I wouldn't even look at them because I'm the typical woman in the West. Is she available? Perhaps, but I wouldn't look for. If I was a single man, I would definitely deal with women that grew up in traditional patriarchal countries. Man, I'm gonna do a show talking about kosher patriarchy on Saturday.
Okay.
And I got a show tomorrow talking about passports and pearls. Because now men, during the last election, they said chucks and pearls. Men are saying passports and pearls, because they said they're going to.
Pearls among swine.
Right. That's where I get it from. The gospel say don't cast your pearls to swine. And I'm not calling them swine, but it's talking about the behaviors. And he said don't cast your pearls to swine. So they said chucks and pearls to commemorate and to more or less demonstrate power. Where men are saying passports and pearls. Meaning we're going to get our passports and give pearls to women that are feminine, honorable, respectful, and know how to respect them and reverence them as men. And a lot of men are doing it. And
that deserve it. That deserve it. And it's going to appreciate it. Mm-hmm. So you know what? I saw this video today. It was touching, I guess, in a way. you know, I don't want to talk bad about the brother. It's on social media, or what I might do, what I might do on the edit when I throw this up, I might put it in there. But you know, I feel a way. So what it was.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and earth. And Tiffany Freeman. I want you to take a moment, take a deep breath, and look around the room and just say 3 words. I deserve this. We made it, baby. It's our wedding day. Through the grace of God covering each and every one of us, we can finally say, we're here. Only God knew, meeting you 13 years ago, that today would be our new beginning. In the midst of a pandemic and the world being at a complete stop, God united us for such a time as this. When we reconnected, there was a passion in me that was connected to the purpose in you. There was a change that was taking place in both of us, and everybody started to see it. We knew who we was. God knew what we were going to be. I asked God for a wife. He told me, let me show you how to be a husband first. I stand before you today, accepting the call of my life to be your husband. I want you to know the man that stands before you today is the happiest I've ever been in my life. With obedience and acceptance on this day and every day forth, I commit to every awakening moment to putting your past feelings of neglect, hurt, rejection in the driver's rear view of your life, and you'll never have to look back again. I take you as my wife to hold, to cherish, believe, and support, and care for you in everything that I do. I want you to know that from this day forth, I vow with my whole heart, so help me God, that you feel safe, heard, seen, and loved. As your husband, I vow to be understanding, unselfish, unconditional, and just forgiving. I love you, and I'm on a job for life. Thank you for allowing me to be whole and free. Thank you for giving me the greatest title I'll ever have. You're everything I prayed for. You're my best friend, and now you're my wife. From this day, I will continue to honor you deliberately, and I will love you wholeheartedly for the rest of my days, as long as I live.
It was a brother, a well-to-do brother. You can tell he had some money. His family came from money, which is good. He was marrying this lady, pretty black lady, and he was reading his vows. You know, I guess beautiful, whatever. It did seem a little lovey-dovey, kind of overly, kind of simpish. But hey, the man is in love. But what caught my eye, and I'm not the only one in the travel group who said this. Several people, we all saw the same thing. So this was like a production, even though it's a real marriage. So as he's reading it, there's different scenes with him and his bride, like sitting in the car or interacting. Almost every scene, she seemed almost nonchalant. She didn't not bored. I can't say bored, not like she was bored, but kind of nonchalant. And this guy was like overly emotional, almost crying as he's reading. Oh, you are my queen. God made you. Heaven made you just for me. I swear my undying fidelity and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And she was just like, okay. And to me, it was glaring. I'm like, wow.
Right.
You kind of, and funny little thing, you can kind of tell the brother you can kind of tell the money was a well-to-do brother. He had money or whatever. So the brother had money. He had paper. He was all into her, very emotional. And she was like, okay. I'm like, wow.
And see, women only respect power and strength. He's already lost in that marriage because he's already deferred his power. And normally, most modern women, not all, but many have been imprinted by multiple men. And so he's coming in thinking she's going to love him, but I won't be surprised in the next 5 or 10 years she divorces him, because she's going to either tolerate him because of money and manipulate him, or he's going to be the kind of man that's going to be saying happy wife, happy life.
Either or. Yeah, you're right. Let's cut you off. That, to me, that would be the only way they stay together. Right. He would have to submit. He would have to cope. He would have to bend and go get on her program.
Well, he's already submitted. If he's bowing, he's already submitted. He's basically pledging his life. You know, I did a show in the past, and I'm gonna go after this because I got to do my notes. But I always said men should never bow. You know, there was a time men got on one knee and bend on bending knee when women were shivers, and men control the trajectory of relationships. But you'll be a fool to get on your knees now, because when you are getting on your knee on a subconscious level, you're saying that her importance is more important than your mission as a man. If you're a masculine man that believes in faith, your first allegiance is to God, your second allegiance is to your purpose, and your woman comes after that. It doesn't mean you don't love your woman, but if you put your woman above your mission and your faith, then you become a idol worshiper. And you see her as the epigenesis to your life instead of seeing God as the epigenesis to your life. And a lot of men do that, and they end up, you know, becoming slaves in the relationship, where she say, well, you ain't getting no sex unless you do this and that, and they manipulating the man, controlling the man. And many men allow it because they don't know what their power they have, they don't know what their worth is. So men got to set standards, they got to set boundaries, and they got to come in with a pulse of masculinity. When they do that consistently, big boss, then they'll start getting the outcomes that they so desire, to say the least.
Boom. And there it is. You heard it right here from the Kosher Clinician. You heard it right here. Well, again, thank you, sir, for your time.
Yes, sir. No problem. It's a pleasure, man.
Definitely got to do this again.
No doubt.
My channel or yours. You have a good evening, sir.
All right. Be good, brother. Take care. Be good.
You too. Peace. Wow. That was very interesting. You know, boss had to step it up, right? You know, get an educated brother on here. Not saying that none of my other guys wasn't educated, but hey, the brother, multiple degrees, did law enforcement, worked in the jail system, education, worked as a teacher, a clinical therapist, and a very strong advocate for men. And like you say, men need to have their needs met, and he said needs drive behaviors. We all have needs, we all have wants, and if men cannot get their needs met here, the men will get their needs met abroad. There's a reason. Okay, it's not just nilly-willy. There is a reason why the passport gospel, so to say, the passport message is exploding. There's a reason. It's in direct correlation. Direct correlation. So, you know, like Kevin Samuel said, R.I.P., winter is coming. It's definitely coming. And so brothers, get your passports and just explore life and be happy. But that's what it is. Like I said, it wasn't going to be long, but we went strong. Again, shout out to the Kosher Clinician. That's his cash app right there. 7th Smalls. Make sure you give the brother a coin or two for the wisdom and the game that he dropped. And again, like I say, he is on our side. Technically, not even a travel bro per se, even though he does have a passport and travels. He's married, happily married for 25, going on 26 years since the mid-90s, right? When the getting was good. He got it when the getting was good in the mid-90s before we got into this 2000s. He's happily married. Obviously, not these other kind of travelers, right? But at the same time, he's on men's side. He's an advocate for men. So make sure you support the brother. Thank you guys for coming out. You guys have a good night. This is Big Boss Real Talk. Continue to check in. And obviously, as you guys know, yes, I do have another channel now. Shout out to the Kosher Clinician. I hear what he say, but Bossy Boss is still Bossy Boss. And Bossy Boss still got that smoke for bitch ass niggas who deserve it. And y'all know who I'm talking about. So also check out my other channel, Big Boss Smoke channel. And this video right here will be up very shortly on both Big Boss Real Talk and briefly, maybe for a day or so, but I will pull it down and it's gonna stay on Big Boss Real Talk podcast. Again, most of my live streams are going to be on the podcast channel, and Real Talk is going to be just for regular edited videos or clips from the live streams. But these long, hour-long live streams, the live streams are going to be on the podcast channel, and the Real Talk channel is just going to be for regular videos. But I'll leave it up here for a day or so. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. And then, of course, I got that new channel, the Smoke channel, to bring that smoke. And very soon, I will be launching my health channel very, very soon. But that's what it is. Thank you guys for coming out. Have a good night. Big Boss, Real Talk. Peace.
Big boss, big boss.